Covalent bonding. Covalent bonding is bonding that occurs through the bonding of pairs of valence electrons between atoms. So I've drawn an atom here. This is methane, CH4, CH4. You can see there's one carbon here, and there's four hydrogens. And all these four hydrogens are bonded to the carbon. The line between them indicates that there's a pair of valence electrons being shared between those two atoms. So if here, there's two electrons being shared between the hydrogen and carbon. One of those electrons is the carbon, so one electron is the hydrogen. Here, this is another line that indicates that a pair of valence electrons being shared between the hydrogen and carbon. There's two valence electrons there. One of those valence electrons is from carbon. The other valence electron is from hydrogen. And the same is true for here, for this hydrogen, as well as over here. If you see two lines between atoms, that means there's two pairs of valence electrons. If I see three lines between bonding atoms, that means there's three pairs of valence electrons being shared. What I've done here is this is an example, and we'll look at how methane forms. So if I look at carbon here, carbon has 6 electrons, 2 inner shell electrons, and then 4 valence electrons, so the outer shell of electrons. Hydrogen has 1 valence electron. Actually, it has only 1 electron. So down here on the bottom, what I've done is I've drawn 4 hydrogens and 1 carbon. Each of the hydrogens again has 1 valence electron, and the carbon has 2 inner shell electrons and 4 valence electrons. Hydrogen is one of the exceptions about the octet rule. So it only wants 2 valence electrons to have a full shell. Carbon, on the other hand, it wants to have 8 valence electrons. The electronegativity is there's not a lot of difference between the carbon and hydrogens, so they're going to share valence electrons. So what will happen during covalent bonding is these hydrogens, they'll move close to the close to the carbon. Let's see, like this. Try to get technology to work, which it doesn't. Aha, here we are. This hydrogen is moving. And this hydrogen over here, it's going to move down here, hopefully. Okay, and then the hydrogen is going to move down here. And then this hydrogen is going to move down here. And what you'll see is that the hydrogen moved, and it is now sharing its electron with the carbon's electron. So you can see each one of these hydrogens is sharing its valence electron with one of the carbon's valence electrons. As a result, let's look at this carbon here. This hydrogen here. This hydrogen has 2 valence electrons, one of its own and one that's sharing with the carbon. This hydrogen over here, it has its 1 valence electron that it's sharing with the carbon, and the carbon is sharing its valence electron with the hydrogen. And this one here, the hydrogen is sharing its 1 valence electron with the carbon, and the carbon is sharing its 1 valence electron with the hydrogen. And again, this last one here, this hydrogen, its valence electron is sharing with the carbon, and the carbon's valence electron is being shared with the hydrogen. As a result, each of the hydrogens now has 2 valence electrons, which it wants to achieve to have a stable atom. The carbon also has a full shell. It has 8 valence electrons, so this is a very stable configuration. So that's how methane would form. So there's an example of a covalent bonding. So covalent bonding again is sharing of pairs of valence electrons between two bonding atoms. This, if we were going to draw it, would be shown like this. Is one way we show it. The line between the carbons and hydrogen is that pair of valence electrons that are being shared between the carbon and hydrogen. So that would be equivalent to these electrons here. All right, thank you.